Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, November 12, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook. We can see that from the time period from about November 20 to November 26, as well as from November 27 to December 3, across the Caribbean we have some amount of above normal rainfall to receive. We can see that being represented by the light shades of greens and the dark shades of greens. That represents anywhere from a 50% chance to a 60% chance of above normal rainfall, and especially as we head into the early part of December, that's a bit quite concerning considering that December is usually when we start to begin our dry season. So if we're actually getting on this, that we're seeing the dark shades of greens across the Caribbean, southern Hispaniola, all the way into Central America, well, that would be a first. And it wouldn't even be surprising, especially with the very warm sea surface temperatures of the Caribbean. So I guess there's gonna be some amount of rainfall to wrap up the hurricane season, and then some of it might even just spill into early December. But we can see that as for the tropical cyclone formation probability, they've definitely gone down by the time we're wrapping up the month of November into December. All of the tropical cyclone probabilities should start to focus more along the southern Indian Ocean right there. As usual, it's their time of year. The script is gonna be flipped in a sense. So more of the focus is gonna be on the southern hemisphere, even although we can still have some activity across the northern Indian Ocean and portions of the northern West Pacific Ocean, as well as even in the northern Indian Ocean again, even after this time period has passed. So very interesting times ahead for the Indian Ocean as well as the Western Pacific. The Caribbean definitely going to be wrapping up after what comes of this system that the Hurricane Center is highlighting as we speak. And we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 6:19 p.m., which is about what, 30, almost 40 minutes ago, if I'm not mistaken, the system now has a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images of this system, look at the deep convection associated with it. Just for reference, we have Jamaica right here. Look at the high cold cloud tops as represented by the reds, the blacks, the grays, the pinks. This tropical wave is definitely formidable, and it has been doing a number on Hispaniola for the past couple of days. You can see the thunderstorms bubbling up for sure. Lots of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, taking place down there for sure as we speak. And we can see that we even gotten some of the afternoon thunderstorm activity, especially across southern Jamaica today. But let us hear what the Hurricane Center is stating regarding their latest update on this system. Let's zoom in and read the very latest. Alright, so they've stated here, let's go up a little bit so that we can see it. Alright, there we go. Showers and thunderstorms over the central Caribbean Sea have become more organized in association with a broad airflow pressure. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next couple of days while the system moves slowly westward into the western Caribbean Sea. Afterward, further development is likely while the disturbance meanders over the western Caribbean Sea through the weekend. The system is forecast to begin moving slowly northwestward by early next week. And we see that they've stated here that interests across the Western Caribbean and Northwestern Caribbean Sea should monitor the progress of this system regardless of development. Heavy rains are expected over Jamaica and portions of Haiti during the next day or so. So tomorrow into the next couple of days, we're going to be getting in on a lot of rainfall across our area, and we see that they've given the system a 70% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So we definitely have another system on our hands. And we know the next name on the list is going to be Sarah. We've been through all of these, all the way up to Raphael, that we just wrapped up. Now on the next, the next name on the list is Sarah, followed by Tony, Valerie, William. More than likely, hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't get Tony, Valerie, or William. As a matter of fact, hopefully we don't get Sarah at all. Hopefully it just stays a strong tropical wave. But boy, the models are definitely showing something. This is the Euro spaghetti model plot. And as of right now, we see that some of the models taking the system into portions of Jamaica. We see the blues. As a matter of fact, we see the blues taking it to the west, then bearing it down here somewhere in the Western Caribbean, closer to Honduras, maybe making it into a tropical storm in the greens, maybe hurricane status in the yellows, oranges, and reds. Some of them taking it back towards Jamaica in the reds, that's somewhere around category 2, if not category 3 strength. But some of them also make it back into Central America. But that's just some of the Euro ensemble spaghetti model plot. What does the latest GFS ensemble spaghetti model plot show? Majority of them taking the system to the west, some of them making it across Jamaica, and some of them making it up to tropical storm status as early as the next 3 days. Many of them making it into the yellows that represent hurricane status, into the reds, major hurricane status, into the purples as well, maybe category 4 strength. But we see that for the most part, yes, we're going to be having the system meandering somewhere down here. We see that on both the Euro and the GFS models for sure. They're not really sure what's going to be happening when it's right there just to the southwest of the Cayman Islands. Something's going to be happening. Most of the average taking it and doing somewhat of a loop-de-loop, and then pushing back towards the northwest, towards the Gulf of Mexico, and then possibly towards Florida right there. But why Florida gets that? They would definitely be in for it for sure. They just had Milton, and before Milton they had Helene. But we hope that they don't get this one, but we definitely have to pay attention to see exactly what unfolds. Even the intensity model guidance is showing that the system is expected to be at tropical storm status within the next 2 days. So more than likely by late Thursday, if not early Friday, we should have tropical storm Sarah on our hands, according to this latest 18Z model intensity guidance plot. You see that most of the lines taking it up to tropical storm status anywhere between the next 24 to 36 hours. Wouldn't even be surprised if we wake up tomorrow to a tropical storm. The system is definitely looking quite formidable as we speak. I mean, look at the deep convection associated with it already, and it's just going to be strengthening the more west it pushes to the south of Jamaica. That's what the hurricane center state is going to be happening. We can see it right here. It's going to be pushing to the west and possibly developing somewhere in here. Hopefully it doesn't develop on top of us. Hopefully it develops more so towards the south or to the west of us in general, with all of the heaviest weather out to sea. Alright, so let us take a look at what the Euro and the GFS models are showing regarding what's expected with the system. And we're going to be looking at the latest run of the Euro model, as well as the 12Z run of the GFS and the 18Z run of the GFS. As usual, we're going to be going out to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days to see exactly what's going to be unfolding. And we're going to be focusing our attention right here across the Caribbean. First of all, we can already see the moisture associated with that tropical wave, as represented by the greens, the yellows, all the way up into the scale. So let's go out in time to see what occurs. So as we head into Wednesday, let's see, 12Z on Wednesday is actually 7 a.m. and we can see the broad area of low pressure the south of us interacting with that tropical wave. We see all of the moisture associated with that tropical wave. Let us take a look at what the GFS is showing for the same time period. Alright, so the GFS seems to be a bit slower, having the air flow pressure more so towards the southeast of us. Well, that's as of the 12-0, and let's see if the 18-0 is up to date. Alright, basically showing the same thing that the 12Z was showing, that the system is moving so slow that majority of the heaviest weather associated with it should still be up to the southeast of us as we wake up on Wednesday morning, but the Euro has most of it right there to the south of us. Let's continue to go out in time as we head into Thursday. Look at what the Euro model has in store. The broad airflow pressure should be out to the west of the island, as we can see here, but clearly we're still getting on some amount of moisture. Let us match it with what the latest from the 12Z is showing. Yes, it's somewhere right here to the southwest of the island. The Euro has it more to the west, more so closer to the coast of Honduras. GFS has it closer, maybe equidistant from Honduras and Jamaica. Let us see what the 18Z GFS has in store for the same time period. So we're all out at the same time period. 12Z on Thursday, 7 a.m. The Euro has it more west. The GFS has it closer between Honduras and Jamaica. And we see that both the Euro, well, the 12Z and the 18Z, definitely something similar, but some slight differences. Let's continue to go out in time on the Euro model. So we see what's taking place. The system is expected to sit there from Wednesday, guys. Is that Wednesday? Let's see. Where were we? Oh, that was from Thursday. 12Z on Thursday. And we see it hasn't moved much. We're now on Friday. The Euro has it still spinning right there close to the coast of Honduras. Could definitely be a bad situation. Lots of flooding, if not possibly even making it up to major hurricane status. And if you remember way back in 1999, was it 1999 or 1998, when we had Hurricane Mitch did something very similar. I wonder if I can pull it up quickly. Let's see, because Honduras was the recipient of that system in general. Alright, let us take a look at this here from the Wikipedia website. Hurricane Mitch did something like this. It did a loop in the southern Caribbean, and then it lifted towards the north, and then it did something like it. By the way, it was moving very slowly. And it was a category 4 in the red, then it became a category 5 in the purple, and it definitely slowed way down as it headed into Honduras. And trust me, if you actually read the information that Nicaragua has here on this system caused so many deaths. What is it saying here? Even though we know that Wikipedia is not a credible source, it says there at least 11,374 people were confirmed to have been killed, okay, by this system. And this affected Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. Lots of flooding took place because of this hurricane back in 1998. I was right, definitely. And boy, although this took place in October, this November seems to be, well, I heard somebody on Instagram say, or was it on Twitter, saying that November is the new October, because this November has been quite active thus far, and it's not surprising given the very warm sea surface temperatures of the Atlantic. So it's going to be happening like this for sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if we even get some systems in December. Let's hope we don't, fingers crossed. But this is a bit overwhelming. Let's stop it right here at the next 168 hours. So the Euro has it right there crossing into the Yucatan Peninsula by then. Let us go out in time to see what the GFS is doing with the system. Alright, definitely stalling out, definitely strengthening all the way up to major hurricane status for sure, but we're still seeing that we have a lot of moisture. This is 7 a.m. on Saturday on the 12Z GFS. Let's go to the same time period on the 18Z run. The same spot, basically the same spot, even closer in a sense if we look close, but clearly the Euro had it more so in between the Yucatan and Honduras right there, but it's still a bit too close for comfort, and we see a lot of moisture still going to be plaguing Jamaica. As we go out in time, we see what's taking place. Alright, it lifts up and then it starts to push back towards the northwest, just like what the spaghetti models were showing. and we see something similar on the 18Z run right here. But clearly at the end of the 168 hours, all these models have the system somewhere different in a sense. So this is Tuesday, November 19. We see the Euro has the system across the Yucatan. The 12Z run of the GFS has it between the Yucatan and Western Cuba. And the 18Z has it closer to the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. Either way, whatever is going to be happening is going to be causing a lot of flooding. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Tuesday, November 19. And boy, guys, I want you to look for a second at the rainfall that's expected in and around Jamaica, as well as the key on the right. So Jamaica is right there in the black. Look at the key on the right that represents rainfall in inches. Jamaica is going to be in for it. Purples into the pinks, the dark reds represent anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall, guys. And that's representative of anywhere from 25 all the way to 125 millimeters of rainfall. That's the usual amount of rainfall that November brings to Montego Bay in general. That's what Montego Bay gets for the month. We're going to be getting all of that within the next 7 days, all courtesy of what's to come of this tropical wave and broad airflow pressure. If these supercomputer model accumulated precipitation forecasts actually verify, and we also see even the light shades of blues that represents anywhere from 12 to 25 inches of rainfall across portions of Honduras, hugging the coast of Belize. The GFS even more robust, getting up into the dark blues past 25 inches or more to the southwest of Jamaica. We even see the salmon colors on the GFS and the light shades of blues that represent anywhere from 6 all the way up to 9 inches, maybe 10 inches of rainfall in the portion of Jamaica. That's if what the GFS is showing actually verifies. And we see that we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt now, because yesterday the Euro was showing more of a system coming closer to Jamaica and then going back, and now we're seeing it a bit more reserved, staying closer to Central America and then pushing back. Boy, we have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds, because these models are forever changing. Tomorrow I'm going to be showing you something completely different, and it is very concerning that they're showing something completely different, given that we're looking at the 7-day time frame. Usually we don't get so much uncertainty on the models within the 7-day time frame. It's usually after the 7-day time frame that we're seeing such differences, because yesterday the Euro was showing something coming closer to Jamaica. Now it's showing something more reserved between the Yucatan and Honduras. But we're starting to get in on the tightening up. We're starting to see that both the Euro and the GFS are starting to show something similar, in that yes, there's going to be some meandering taking place, whether the system is going to be slowing down, lingering, or pushing back closer to the Western Caribbean or closer to Jamaica, then spinning off and going back towards the northwest between the Yucatan and Cuba, or affecting the Yucatan in general. Regardless of what happens, Central America, Jamaica are going to be in for it. A lot of rainfall spilling into portions of Haiti as well, like the Hurricane Center stated. And regarding the close-up of Jamaica in terms of the rainfall, the Euro definitely a bit more reserved, different from what we saw yesterday, with even the 900 millimeters to the south of the island now making more sense, as the Euro usually does, showing more of the yellows, oranges, the pinks into the reds. That represents anywhere from 30 to 125 millimeters of rainfall in and around the island. GFS a bit more robust. This was what I was expecting yesterday, but it was a flip. The Euro was showing something bonkers and the GFS wasn't. Now the GFS is doing the opposite of what the Euro was doing yesterday. GFS showing more purples, not blues. The dark reds that represent 125 millimeters of rainfall into the purples, and the lighter shades of purples that represents all the way up to close to 300 millimeters of rainfall in store, especially for southern parishes in Jamaica. So I hope that we're paying attention to this tropical wave, and trust me, most of the some of the rainfall, if not most of it, begins tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day that the tropical wave is going to be crossing over us in general. So it begins tomorrow. There's going to be some amount of flash flooding. If you love your kids, don't send them to school. But this tropical wave is gonna be doing a number. We see how strong it is. Let's go back to the latest infrared. Look at the deep convection, and the system is just right here to the southeast of us. And if all of this heads on to our land tonight into tomorrow, it's definitely going to be a bad situation, especially considering that we already have saturated ground. We see how easy it's going to be to get the island to flood in general. And we have another whole strong tropical wave that's going to be affecting us. We definitely have to take heed and be on our P's and Q's. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have a ridge of high pressure right here to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We see Africa right here, we see Northern South America right here, the Eastern Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Jamaica right here. We see the tropical wave that's now crossing over Jamaica from east to west. We see a huge trough stretching all the way from the northern section of North Atlantic all the way down into portion of the Western Caribbean. We still see that frontal system to the north of the Eastern Caribbean, touching all the way up in the northern portion of the North Atlantic. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely see the clouds associated with those entities. We can definitely see the clouds associated with the trough stretching all the way into the Western Caribbean. We can definitely make out the clouds associated with that frontal system, touching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. We can see the clouds associated with that strong tropical wave interacting with that broad airflow pressure. We can even make out the clouds pushing in from the southwest. Quite the monsoon trough kind of pattern as we speak. Some clouds come into portions of the Windward Islands. Clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone squashed to the south of the main development region as usual. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, November 12, 2024. It was stated that parts of some eastern, central, and western parishes, and especially southern parishes, would have received some afternoon rainfall on Tuesday. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? As early as 1:26 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted right here on our Twitter page. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see what was posted at around 1:26 p.m. The clouds bring some overcast skies and some isolated showers and even some thunderstorms to portions of Westmoreland, sections of eastern St. Elizabeth, Manchester, section of northern Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, as well as section of St. Thomas. We're definitely getting on some amount of overcast skies and some amount of isolated showers for sure. And then by around 4:25 p.m., the infrared close-up satellite image of Jamaica was posted, still highlighting the high cold cloud tops, bringing the thunderstorms to portions of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, section of Clarendon, section of St. Thomas, and Portland. Definitely getting on some of the action. Even saw some milky white clouds across section of some northern parishes to indicate that they got on some isolated showers there as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely make out that flow. Look on the north coast. We see more of a flow from the north. We see all of the air piling up, especially on the south coast, because of the variable winds that we've been having. So it makes sense that yes, eastern, central, and western parishes would have gotten the rainfall, but more so across the southern sides. Well, the southern side of the island in general getting in on that rainfall. And we can still see the heaviest weather off to the east associated with that strong tropical wave. If we take a look at the infrared satellite images, we can make out the thunderstorms that took place. We see the sparkling white dots that represent the lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, that took place across sections of Clarendon, section of Manchester, section of St. Elizabeth. And we can see the colorful clouds that represents the cumulonimbus clouds that represents the high cold cloud tops, the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds, and the blacks within all of that. Definitely some strong thunderstorms last section of southern Jamaica for sure. And we definitely have confirmation of this rainfall from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the moderate heavy rainfall that was lashing halfway through today. Look at the rainfall. We see people with their windshield wipers on, people crossing the road with their umbrella for sure, to signal that we definitely got in on some amount of rainfall. It was more so on the light to moderate side at this point for sure, but that could definitely change tomorrow with the tropical wave crossing over us even more, bringing even more intense showers. And we can see the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, confirming where we had the rainfall today. Definitely across eastern, central, and western parishes, with more of the bias across sections of some southern parishes for sure. And we definitely have confirmation from some of our followers about the rainfall, with Kemiji TV 8131 stating rain just done tear down Kingston 3 hours ago. We have Udella Sipatterson stating rain in St. Catherine. Shadow Posh 9088 stating looks like more rain is coming. Is that true? Yes, Shadow Posh, more rain is definitely coming. We have Macabamar stating overcast skies, little rain on and off in Old Britain, Greater Portmore. Yad underscore main 7748 stating Northwest St. Anne has been relatively dry. Sharon Johnson 2041 stating enough rain, St. Elizabeth. And even on our Twitter page, we had a comment coming in from Shan. We have Shan stating in Old Harbor the sky is dark. Even on our Instagram page, we had the comments coming in. Kai underscore mommy stating raining in Kingston. Realm underscore JA drizzling in Portmore. We have Sashi.I underscore stating raining in Mandeville. Bray underscore grab underscore 8 stating rain out by 8 Mile Bulbe. We have 11 underscore 11 Scorpion Queen. Rain just started in Ochi. K underscore Cousins raining in Kingston. We have Shanbert.Poo rain in Portmore. Robinson Andrew 37 slight drizzle on Old Harbor Road. And we have Edwards Tanisha raining in South Manchester from after 11, all no still falling. And finally we have Designer's Pride overcast rain on and off St. Catherine. So that indeed confirms the rainfall across section of the island today, especially across some southern parishes, just as predicted. And if we take a look at the latest still image from the weather nerd site, let's see what's happening right now across the island. Let us look at the very latest still image that just came out at 0015 UTC. Alright, so considering that it's representing 7:15 p.m. that just came out 8 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:23 p.m. now. And look at what we're seeing. We're seeing a huge burst of convection right there across the southern portion of the island, maybe southwestern St. Catherine, southeastern Manchester, definitely southern Clarendon getting in on some strong thunderstorms. We see some clouds across eastern portion of the island, maybe it's eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland. Let us match it to what we're seeing on the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Alright, so the latest Cuban Doppler radar image just came out at 7:10 p.m. And given that it's 7:23 p.m. right now, so that just came out 13 minutes ago. And look at the greens into the yellows that we can see by the key on the right. That represents the moderate to heavy rainfall currently lashing portion of southern St. Catherine, section of Clarendon for sure, getting in on that rainfall. We can also see on the Doppler radar some rainfall to our north, to the north of Portland, some rainfall to the north of Trelawney and St. James as well as St. Anne. Who knows? Maybe some of that might spill into northern parishes tonight, even although we know the heaviest weather is off to our southeast with that tropical wave. We know these things go. It usually is coming in from this direction first, especially with a broad area of spin. And then we start to get in on the action on the back side of the system with the moist southeasterly flow when it's somewhere to our south or to our west. We'll see exactly what unfolds tonight, and I'll give you the actual breakdown with the 1 hour totals soon. But if we take a look at the rainfall that's taking place right now, according to the Guantanamo Bay Naval Radar Station imagery, we can make out some blues into the greens and yellows represent some light to moderate rainfall, even some slight heavy rainfall in and around eastern Cuba, sections of the waters between Cuba, Jamaica, and Haiti, sections of the western peninsula of Haiti, definitely getting on some isolated shores as we speak. Not seeing much action right now on the Cayman radar, just some isolated shores closer to the coast of southern Cuba, and some rainfall to the far south of Grand Cayman. And if we take a look at what's happening right now on See Jamaica's YouTube channel, by the way, I'd like for you to keep in mind that this live stream that we're seeing here, even the other one from halfway through, they're shown every day 24/7, guys, every day, for your viewing pleasure for free. It's all on YouTube. Just open up your YouTube app on your phone or on your computer, go to the website www.youtube.com and type in See Jamaica, and you will see it for yourself. They show halfway tree, Crossroads, Barbican, the Kingston Harbor, Flatbridge, you name it, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So if I were you, I'd definitely subscribe so that I don't miss out. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, remaining 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday. When calculated, 18Z is about the same as 1 p.m. And we can see Jamaica right here, half of the island in some grays that represent average temperatures or normal temperatures, while the western half is in the yellows that we can see by the key on the right here, that represents up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November for Jamaica are around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.1 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most, given the 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And if that's gonna be a bit too hot for you, even although we're gonna be getting on that rainfall, you know, sometimes it rains and it's still hot outside, like today in the afternoon in Kingston, boy. Either way, we know the drill. Tips to beat the heat: always check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, as they can make dehydration worse. And limit the non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water instead. Put away the sugary drinks. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see that the Saharan dust is right here in the brown, stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into portions of the Eastern Caribbean. But we see that the more it comes into the Caribbean, the more it's dissipating, the more it's dwindling right here. It's not so vigorous like what we see closer to Africa with those darker shades of browns. And it's the darker shades of browns that we're running from, because we know that that can cause the very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. And we're indeed glad that even although the ridges to the north of there is sending the Saharan dust to the west, the more it pushes to the west is the more it dwindles. That's what we want, even although we know the Saharan dust would be good for choking off whatever is trying to form into Sierra. We would rather not have the Saharan dust at all to make us sick. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that majority of the Caribbean, including Jamaica, should be getting on those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all. We see more of those light shades of greens to bright shades of greens that represent anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots, maybe even gusting to 20 knots in some spot across the Caribbean, coming in more so from the east-southeast across the Eastern Caribbean. We see the broad spin across the waters to the south of Jamaica associated with that broad airflow pressure. More of a southerly kind of flow and curving westward as we head into Jamaica, curving southward to the west of the island, curving downward. So that's to the southeast and then spinning. Definitely quite a broad spin right here as the tropical wave interacts with that broad airflow pressure, trying to get its act together. But regarding the close-up of Jamaica, we see what's going to be expected. We see the winds are going to be curving, coming in more so from the southeast tomorrow, more so from the east on the north coast, averaging anywhere from 25 anywhere from 20 to 25 knots, as we can see by the bright greens into the yellow. Definitely gonna be windy, especially on the southeastern sides, so anywhere from, let's say, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. Definitely gonna be getting on the strong winds. So too areas on the north coast for sure. And we see that the air should be piling up where? Right here across sections of Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth. That's where we might get in on that daytime heating, bringing the afternoon rainfall. But boy, tomorrow is just gonna be a wet day. Anything that comes off of the sea associated with the tropical wave is gonna be pushing in like this across the island, from east to west, from southeast to northeast, especially across the east. Gonna be getting the brunt of it for sure. And we don't have much wind shear across the area. Clearly we have this huge white that represents the upper level anticyclone, the upper level high pressure. So there's not much wind shear. We see most of the wind shear in the blues, into the greens, yellows, oranges, more so across northern portions of the basin. So North America, the United States in general, getting not much of the wind shear. Not going to be tearing the thunderstorms of this tropical wave off at all with the lack of wind shear that we're experiencing. And we see that the rainfall forecast maps are already in consensus, because this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 10 p.m. tonight. And where do we see the blues represent rainfall? Across sections of eastern Jamaica. So clearly whatever is taking place across Clarendon right now is going to be dissipating by the time we get up to 10 p.m. considering that it's 7:31 p.m. now, and then replace eastern Jamaica with the rainfall sections of maybe St. Mary, section of Portland, St. Thomas. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. But look out to sea to the east, dark greens into the, dark blues into the greens, represent even more rainfall. GFS a bit more robust, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, purples, pinks. That's ridiculous amounts of rainfall out to sea. Let's see what takes place. Skipping ahead now to about 5 a.m. on Wednesday, look what's taking place. Still we have some rainfall across eastern parishes. We see the blues. That represents rainfall from St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas. Euro model definitely a bit more robust, with the rainfall with the dark shades of blues into the greens. Skipping ahead now to about 10 a.m. we can definitely see the Euro and the GFS model starting to give sections of central and eastern parishes the rainfall. Not so much across the west yet at 10 a.m. We still see some whites out to the west on the GFS, but the Euro is trying to give the west some rainfall. We'll see if that's actually what unfolds, especially given that moist southeasterly flow across the island. It wouldn't be surprising if all parishes are getting morning rainfall at that time. But clearly, by afternoon, both models, the Euro and the GFS models, are showing rainfall all across the island from east to west. And we still see the brunt of the rainfall affecting especially southern and eastern parishes for sure, according to the Euro. Skipping ahead now to about 4 p.m. we still see much of the island still getting in on rainfall. Look at all of the blues, especially the southern portion of the island, getting in on the rainfall, especially to the waters to the south of us. Look at the dark blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, represents even more rainfall. Skipping ahead now to 7 p.m. we're still getting plagued with rainfall, especially across southern parishes. Anywhere from Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, eastward, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, sections of St. Thomas, getting in on the action too. And then finally, by about 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, this is what we're seeing. Still getting plagued with some isolated showers across some southern coastal areas. But look at the heavy rainfall that the GFS has out to sea. Quite interesting times ahead, and we see that both accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that the most in the way of rainfall should be plaguing portions of southern and eastern Jamaica for sure. We see up to 1 inch of rainfall, the 1.11 across sections of Manchester, section of Kingston and St. Andrew, the 1.18, 1.42 across St. Thomas. Tomorrow is just gonna be a rainy day in general, especially during the afternoon hours for southern and eastern parishes for sure. We see that both accumulated precipitation forecast has rainfall on the north coast, but more so on the least amount side with the greens. There's no rainfall at all in St. James, but we're definitely going to be getting rainfall across section of most parishes, so don't pay that any mind, especially considering that the Euro is showing rainfall there and the GFS, so we're lacking the consensus, but clearly there's consensus for rainfall across southern and eastern Jamaica. So hopefully, if there's actual flooding, please ensure that you turn around, try not to drown, always wait for the water to recede. If you hear thunder, go indoors. When thunder roars, go indoors. Turn around, don't drown. They rhyme for a reason. Please ensure that you all stay safe. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a flash flood watch or a flash flood warning up in place within the next 24 to 48 hours. And as such, as stated, we're definitely going to be exceeding the amount of rainfall for the month of November, given what we've had thus far with Rainfall developing near the island and now a possible Sarah developing near us. We can definitely see that in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we shall receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall for the month. That's up to what? Let's see. 50 millimeters, about the same as 2 inches of rainfall. In Montego Bay, we shall receive close to 5 inches of rainfall for the month. That's about 125 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall and the rain gauge, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and it will show you that information, and you can use this nice little graphic right here that does the calculations from inches to millimeters that we'll receive on the rain gauge. Know that 1 inch is about the same as 25 millimeters. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some clouds bringing some showers and thunderstorms to portions of Haiti, Jamaica associated with a tropical wave. We see some clouds bring some moisture to portions of the Windward Islands as we speak. Anywhere from St. Lucia southward, getting on some of the action, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, section of Barbados might have gotten on some rainfall today too. We see some rainfall in and around Venezuela, Colombia, section of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua getting on some of the action. We see a nice little swirly associated with a trough of low pressure to the east of Belize. Nothing too significant there. But if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, not seeing much across Puerto Rico. There's some British Virgin Islands, St. Martin's or St. Kitts right now. But to the east of Guadeloupe, we see some isolated hit or miss showers. We see some leftover showers from the tropical wave across the Dominican Republic. As a matter of fact, if we load these images from earlier today, we can see that portion of northern Puerto Rico definitely got on some rainfall. So to western Puerto Rico, section of St. Kitts and Nevis might have gotten on some of the action too. Regarding the rainfall that we just mentioned on the satellite, definitely some of that affecting section of Barbados as we speak. Some of it going into portions of St. Lucia right now. Skipping down, don't see much happening across Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago right now. But if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some isolated showers that we saw on the Cayman radar to the south of Cuba. Some rainfall to the east of Nicaragua. We can make out some rainfall in and around Colombia, sections of northwestern Venezuela. Can't see anything on the northeastern South American radar. Guyana, Suriname, or French Guyana radars look down. But regarding the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way up to 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall should be where we have the tropical wave, as well as the broad airflow pressure bringing the most rainfall, as indicated by the dark reds into the purples. That represents 2 inches of rainfall all the way up to maybe 5 inches of rainfall for sections of western Panama, Costa Rica. We can also see some rainfall in store for the waters to the south and east of Jamaica, section of the Haitian Peninsula, getting in on some of the rainfall. We can also see some rainfall in store for section of the ABC Islands, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, section of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, sections of Martinique, maybe Dominica, getting in on some of the action too. Looking northward, definitely some rainfall for portions of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, section of Cuba, the southern Bahamas, into the Turks and Caicos, section of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, getting on some of the action too. So two sections of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.